the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Let's go, let's go, let's go, brothers and sisters. You know who we are. Blessed Purim. Hit the like button, come on.
The East is where we're from.
Hit the like button.
The 12 tribes of Israel.
Come on, happy Purim.
In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell.
Blessed.
With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel, that's who we be. We be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel.
All right. All right. But before we go in, the Most High is calling back Israel. Purim, what a blessing. What a blessing. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Then we're going to go into AI and how their whole plans is to do what Haman the Agagite tried to do to us in Iran. They're seeking to destroy the children of God. That's right. AI is their key component. But before we go there, because there will be a brief broadcast tonight because I have a meeting around 9 o'clock, but we're going to make this information filled. And then we'll follow up with Patreon for those who would like to discuss more on this topic. But before we do that, this is the spirit of Christ. We should always remember, brothers and sisters, brotherly love. Happy Feast of Purim. Listen to the words.
We've been through so much pain. Life took a separate way.
Both
did some hurtful things, but it's not over. You know that we both care. So can we forgive and forget? I need you here. Remember the ups and downs, the trials we've been through. See, there is no one on this earth who can replace you, my brother. Life is too short, don't hold no grudges. No grudges. You are my blood, yeah. We must forgive and love each other. No matter what life throws at us, we must keep brotherly love.
Keep brotherly love. Keep brotherly love. We have Elder Lawyer in the house. How are you doing, Elder Lawyer?
I'm doing well, sir. Doing very well. Coming off of that high last night with the Purim celebration, which was wonderful. How about yourself?
Man, you seen those kids go after those toys?
Yeah, man, that was heartwarming, to say the least.
I've never seen anything like that.
Con.
Ever. I mean, it's to the point where I didn't want to leave. And people were still there near 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. The children were having a ball. Gifts, you name it. I mean, all praises be to the Most High. Elder Lawyer, you've been dealing with this a long time. Young man. You came in from a young man to a man. And if you had to quantify the journey from that time, you had those little locks up in your head way back when on the corner of downtown Philadelphia. How would you quantify the journey, young man?
To be honest with you, I can't, because it's let me say this as well. Coming in initially into this faith, one thing you would always mention to us young men, regardless of how much we thought it was impossible and how much we thought that it couldn't happen, wouldn't happen, you would always tell us that this truth is going to take us all around the world. And once we locked in, once you sold this faith in us, what you said came to fruition. And this thing has gone throughout the four corners of the earth. We've gone throughout the four corners of the earth, spreading this gospel. And man, this is well beyond anything I could ever imagine.
Same here.
It's hard to quantify.
Same here, man. It's like how the Most High fulfill his promise in us if we're willing to step out in faith and do what he commanded us to do. And you know, it's ups, it's downs, it's gains, it's losses.
Right.
But I wouldn't change this journey for the world. Especially after seeing, I'm going to tell you, seeing the look on those children's faces who don't have to go through what we went through. We had to crash, relearn everything. We had to just suppose the truth up against all the lies that was instilled in us. It wasn't our parents' fault, but we had to struggle to find the truth. And for this generation to be born in it, man, I'm looking forward into seeing what these kingdom children become. It's beyond anything I thought it would be. And it was well worth the journey and the sacrifice. Hey, it's worth all the good times and bad times. And I wouldn't change.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change one thing.
Done.
Okay. Even with the losses, whatever it is, it's in the hands of the Almighty. We went out through total faith while the whole world thought we were crazy. Our own family thought we were insane.
Right.
And we stepped out in faith and did what the Most High said with nothing. No help, no finances, no nothing. And the Most High did what? He fulfilled his promise to us. I'll send you out without purse and or script, because a workman is worthy of his hire. And we worked. Didn't even look back. And I'm going to tell you, when you think about it, we went straight into the work and never looked back. And I'm going to tell you, the Most High has fulfilled his promise in this work. And I thank the Most High for sending Christ, his word, and his understanding. Without that, none of what we're doing today would be possible. And we are not to look back. We are to continue.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Man, no regrets. Here we are. Today, Elder Lawyer, we have a deep, deep lesson off the back of what we went into last week. We had a special guest, Jesse Beltran, who came through and gave us some insight that a lot of people have been invaded with foreign entities, unbeknownst to themselves, and he insinuated it happened with the choices that happened during the pandemic. But let me say this, even though the brother came on, there's a few things that he was right on with, and I wanted people to hear it from an outside perspective. But at the end of the day, we're not to fear, and we ought to get in front of everything, right? When I say get in front of everything, we have to make sure that our hearts are pure. We have to make sure we do what's right according to the Almighty. And we have to make sure our bodies are clean on the inside. Now, with saying that, I know a lot of people ordered what the brother suggested from his website. That's the least I could do for him with all the information he brought forth. All right. But I need to say this as a disclaimer, right? When it comes to these agents or what you would call herbal products, all right, you must consult a physician or something to make sure that it doesn't mess around with anything that you may be allergic to. And I had to put that out there, okay? Not to say that it doesn't work, because I believe that there are agents out there and herbs out there. Truman talked about it last Friday. Natural herbs to metal detox to get it out of you. But still, make sure you're doing what's right by your body, because guess what? There's no such thing as a one size fit all when it comes to that stuff. Any stuff out there. You have to understand your body. Some people, it may take 12 drops. Some people may need only 2 drops a day or whatever the case is. But make sure you do these things responsibly, because I don't want people out there who may get some stuff to fix one thing and something else arises. Let me put that out there. And I'll say that if I'm talking concerning referring natural herbs, whether it be him or Truman. One thing I like about Dr. Truman is that he's a doctor. Okay, he's an herbologist. He can work with you and understand, according to your weight, what are the drugs you might be taking, what's going on with your health issues, the right dosage for what he suggests. All right. So I wanted to put that out there. All right. I don't want anybody to come back to me after taking some stuff and say, Elder, you co-signed this person. You still have to do your due diligence. One thing I like to focus on with him is the fact that he has the equipment to identify if there's something foreign operating in your body. Okay. Be it some type of tracking device or something that was inserted without your knowledge during surgery, or whether some of the nanobites have materialized into something in your body that may cause harm later. Well, he has the devices to figure that out. So I'm going to more so invite him to our church here in Philadelphia this coming fall. Okay. This coming fall, I'm going to invite him, and he's going to bring his equipment, and he's going to go through people, whoever feel that something might be in them, they'll be able to go through. And guess what? There's no cover charge. We're not charging no money. I'm paying for him to come with the equipment. And if you come to get screened to see if anything is on you, you'll see it through the radiation, not the radiation, the radiology thing he has to show where devices are. And then you do your due diligence with him, because he has doctors in place that can help get foreign things out that may have been implanted in people without their permission, or without them actually knowing they gave permission. Okay. So again, keep your eyes on that. I'm going to try to do that probably this coming summer. And, and we're going to charge, we're not going to charge anyone. We're going to pay for them to come so we can do the screening. Normally I would say, well, let's get this equipment anyway. We'll probably need it down the line. Elder Lloyd, you've seen in the Matrix where they got the person in the car, when they got Neo in the car, they scanned him and end up pulling a big bug out of him, right?
Right, exactly.
Right? So all in all, eventually we'll probably have some of that equipment ourselves. But, I don't think it's time for us to be screening to find out if people have bugs or the mark of the beast in them at this time. But all in all, this guy has the equipment, so I'm going to bring him in and invite him as a guest to help us do screening. Okay? And again, it's not going to cost anyone nothing. We'll give the date that we'll do it for those who would like to come through. We can make it a time where you can meet the elders or whatever the case is and get a screening. All right? Someone says, thank you, Elder, for teaching me and bringing the real name of the Most High God, Ahia. All praises to the Most High. Thank you, but all praises to the Most High. He prophesied that he would reveal his name to his people before the end. And we're just vessels. What we did, we stepped out on faith, and he did the rest. So give all the glory to the Almighty, right? But thank you. Someone says, Laness, I'm good on Truman. I ain't giving him another red cent, period. Hey, if you got something with Truman, you got to work that out with him. But his suggestions as far as herbs go is pretty on point. Now, I've had some things where I told him, like, listen, he need to recalibrate the business to make sure things get to people on time. So just like anyone, when it comes to their gifts, you utilize their strengths. So even if I don't get things from them or herbs from them, if they don't come in a timely fashion, so I don't want to get offended that I paid something and it didn't come, or it came late, or I got to remind a person. I can understand that. But one thing you can actually take from him outside of all of that that's useful is the information that's in his mind concerning herbs. So you can't deal with him in an area that will offend you, but at least reach out if you have suggestions that doesn't cost anything at all. And he'll let you know what herb you can get in your area concerning an issue. Okay? So again, I'm sorry if anything happened where something went wrong, but go talk to him and try to straighten it out with him. Okay? Okay? Just try to straighten. Elder, we're going into the lesson now. All right? I wanted to put that out there. Purim is absolutely wonderful. We have 2 hours. We are about to go into the broadcast. Hold tight, brothers and sisters. 1 second, and we're going to jump right in. All right. Oh yeah. I have another announcement, by the way. I'm glad I thought about that before jumping in. Elder Lawyer. We're seeking, first we're going for first fruits. 7 Sabbath from the Passover will be 7 Sabbaths from the Passover will be in Canada. So that's first fruits. So also it's tentative, but we're thinking about, I had a call today that's tentative, that at the end of First Fruits, that next weekend, to fly over into St. Louis with the body there, setting up the Gathering of Christ Church and the men that we'll anoint to stand in authority under our leadership there. Probably will teach Friday night and baptize Saturday morning and leave out probably Saturday night. And then have to do the academy Sunday morning. All right.
Right. Right.
So
yes, sir.
we're going to have 2 busy weekends, right? So we're looking to possibly go to St. Louis for First Fruits. Canada, after Canada, then the end of First Fruits, which is, we have First Fruits, and then after First Fruits, that following weekend. Okay? That following weekend. So we're looking at that following weekend after First Fruits to go to St. Louis. So that's going to be exciting. Right? Now, let's jump all the way in. Elder Lawyer, now, I'm going to put it on so you can hear this. This is something that came out about 12 days ago. And it's going into the spirit, the eventual spirit, that there are adjusting people all over the earth to accept through AI. AI is at its infancy stage right now. But eventually, a spirit enters and it integrates all the people who are divided under one mind. It integrates. Like, for instance, we look at Instagram. We look at TikTok, right? We look at all these social media things that have disconnected people from people. So those were what? Those were slow drips or slow drips of them separating people all together to be initiated into one religion. So they have to desensitize people to slow up interaction we would normally have in the real world to depend on technology first. Right? But there's a religion behind it. Today, we're going to quantify the Antichrist empire since Babylon up into our current time, so that our people can understand the world we were born in. When they see this video tonight, everything is going to become clear. Whether it be religion, whether it be politics, whether it be governance, and or, listen to me clearly, when it comes to what's going on with the Epstein files, families being separated, everything you'll need to know about the Antichrist spirit, point them here for this small, impactful lesson. What is this lesson? You see it. It's talking about the Antichrist and AI. Now, Elder, first and foremost, let's go to John real quick, where it talks about that Antichrist that would come, right? And this is not going to be a long lesson at all, but it will be effective. We're going to 1 John 2, verse 18. Hold up, before you get there, let me adjust this. 1 second. I have to fix this layer 1 second here. Bear with me. Right there. All right. Bear with me, folks. Got that. And let me pull up Eastward here. All praises. Now, let's first start at 1 John 2:18. And why am I going into this? Well, we're coming off of Purim. And a lot of people out there don't understand that what came against us, even in Persia, is no different than the Antichrist spirit. Okay? You have Haman the Agagite, we're in Purim, who got with the king, got upset with Israelites because we refused to bow to their pagan ways. And then he instituted a decree to pay mercenaries to get rid of all of our people in Iran, the Israelites who ran into that area. And this is the plan of the Antichrist altogether, the Antichrist spirit on a global level. I'm going to break it down for you. Elder Lawyer, let's read 1 John 2, verse 18. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. 1 John 2:18. Little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard, that Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time.
It says there are what? Many Antichrists. So the Satanists out there, the Jesuits, came up with a philosophy within Christianity called dispensationalism. And with this satanic theory that came from the Catholics, the Jesuits, instead of us seeing Antichrist that's working from the Vatican within government and identifying that, they would have us searching for a prophetic one man in the future, a boogeyman that doesn't exist, while the Antichrist spirit operates unchecked by those who believe in God. If you think it's down the line, then there's nothing for you to fight against in the present. They came up with that ideology, that satanic ideology, starting in the 16th century. Came directly from Rome to have us looking for a man that wouldn't exist while the Antichrists are actually working. Many Antichrists. We're going to identify them today. Okay? Paul said that the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Let's go there real quick. In Thessalonians.
Yes, sir. 2 Thessalonians 2:3.
2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Read that for me, please.
Yes, sir. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Now, even Paul stated, let no man deceive you by any means. Don't forget, in Matthew 24, Christ stated, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, except they be a fallen away first. What is that? Well, Paul said, well, Israel must fall according to the prophecies of Daniel's desolation first. We must lose Jerusalem, except we fall by the edge of the sword first, like Christ prophesied, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Now let's see if this is something down the line, or was it working during the time of the disciples? Read the 4th verse.
who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
So we must do what? We must identify the man of sin, his system. We must identify his system, because when you identify the system, you'll be able to, and I'm going to show you, you'll be able to see Satan at its nucleus. Satan works within a system. But if they make you think that it's one man that need to come and become a politician, politicians are priests within Satan's model. I'm going to show y'all this. They're priests, but they're not the man of sin. They're front men. So eventually, it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, who stated he would do this? What prophecy is Paul drawing from out of the Old Testament? Who is Paul saying must be revealed? Well, hold that and go to who? Let's go real quick to Isaiah, the 14th chapter. We're going to get back here, but follow me. Follow me. Because they have everyone chasing ghosts. When you see this video today, you're going to realize that religion, those over religion, those over politics and all of that, have been intentionally deceiving the world. How do we do this now? Because the Christian church will tell you this is a future antichrist. But Paul is telling us something different. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now we're going to pick it up from the 5th verse in a moment. But let's go into the Old Testament. Now, some people might ask, well, Elder, why are you going into the Old Testament? Well, brothers and sisters, keep in mind, when Paul is quoting this or sending this letter at that time, when he sent this letter to the church, the New Testament was not compiled at all. So everything the disciples and Paul was referencing from was the Old Testament. See? Now let's go to Isaiah, the 14th chapter. And we're going to come back to 2 Thessalonians in a second. Follow me. Follow me here. All right? Isaiah 14. And now the lawyer, let's read the 12th verse.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
How did you fall from grace, Lucifer? Read.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
How are you now living on earth's terrain? Read.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
So who said that they would sit in the temple of God? According to prophecy, folks. Huh? Who is Paul talking about? Lucifer. Lucifer is who Paul is referencing. See how simple that, it was there the whole time. I said, you know what, I'm going to slow walk this so y'all can see it. It was there the whole time. So he said that he would go to the sides of the north. I will do what?
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
I will go to the heights of the cloud. Tower of Babel, anyone? NASA, anyone? The Space Force in Israel, anyone? You see the plan over and over again? I will be what?
I will be like the Most High.
I will be like the Most High, but yet, read.
Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
Because it tells us in Revelations, the 20th chapter, that when Christ returns, he binds Satan for that 1,000-year reign. We're gonna go into that the week after next, as we embark on the lesson, brothers and sisters. Not the week after the next, 2 weeks, because we're gonna go this week. We're gonna deal with the 4 beasts of Daniel. The following week, we're going to deal with the round table discussion. The round table discussion. Man on one side and woman on the other. Right? How can we come together before the judgment? And then we're going into, that's right, life after Armageddon. That there's hope at the end of all this. So as we teach this, brothers and sisters, know that this is not a doom and gloom story. It's a revelation that leads to paradise, to peace finally on earth for God's people. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Now, I'm not going to deal in any Jewish fables. We're not going to dive into allegories. We're not going to dive into metaphors or make it parabolic. You have some people talking about Lucifer is the white man. Total nonsense. Total nonsense, okay? And we're going to prove that in a moment. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Read on, and that's when Christ binds him upon his return in hell for a 1,000-year span before he's loosed again. Read on.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?
Is this the what?
Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?
There go your man of sin Paul is talking about right there. Where was he before he took full dominion over this earth through Adam's fall? Elder Lawyer, let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. The 28th chapter. Let's read it.
Isaiah 28, verse 1. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, Say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God.
I am what?
I am God.
I am God, and I do what?
I sit in the seat of God.
I sit in the seat of God. See what Paul is referencing? When it says the prince of Tyrus or the king of Tyrus, it's not speaking of the king or prince at that time. It's speaking of a principality over empire. We're going to show you the model of that principality in a moment. But this is whom Paul is referencing. Because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God, I sit in the seat of God. Read.
In the midst of the seas.
Read.
Yet thou art a man,
Yet
and
thou
not God.
art a man, which means this spirit has been relegated to this terrain. That's right, folks. It's the Kabbalah Lord, the architect. I'm going to show y'all something in a moment. Yet thou art a man, read.
And not God.
And not God, read.
Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God.
Though thou set thy heart as the heart of God. So he wished to do what? He wished to sit in the minds of the people and have the whole earth worship him like we were supposed to worship the true and living God. Now, what does this particular entity carry that makes him really attractive to the elite, who think they are the elite, but really they're the bottom of the bottom? What do he possess? Read the 3rd verse.
Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
And this is what happens for those who would bow to this power. In exchange, he gives knowledge. He gives information based on his experiences since the time he was created. And that's more information on this earth taught through him and those who would follow him. That's more information that he gives them directly than anybody can get out of a what? A normal Christian or any religious setting over the nations. He has information from the beginning of creation before earth. And how many elites will sell their soul just to get some insight of what that is and how to utilize that as a form of control and power over the world? See? So his wisdom is the bait. Now, of course, one thing he recognized in the heavens, he recognized as a morning star that every morning the sons of God would come before the Almighty with a song. And with the song, it keeps all of the heavenly body in harmony with the Most High. See? Music. He's seen the power of that from the heavens. He's seen that power, that driving force that kept the angelic beings unified. All right? Where were you? Let's get that, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Job 38:4.
Job 38 and 4, and we're going to go back to the book of Ezekiel. Hold on, let me get it here. Job 38, verse 4. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. Job 38 and 4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth?
Okay, let me grab that out of so they can see it. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? So this was before earth, folks. Read.
Declare if thou hast understanding.
Declare if thou have understanding. Right? Read it all the way through.
Verse 5. Who have laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who have stretched the line upon it?
The firmament.
Whereupon are
the firmament. Read.
Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof?
Read.
When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy.
So before earth, there was a what? A choir before the Almighty, named, entitled, that's right, the morning stars. And they would sing every morning before the Almighty, and that music alone kept one message. And what? It unified the angelic forces in one praise towards the Most High. Christ was a part of this choir. So was Lucifer, who was created by Christ. So music was that unifying force before earth. Now let's go back to the book of Ezekiel. Now you understand how the enemy is able to drive a lot of their antichrist plans using music as a vehicle. Because he's seen how it was utilized to unify righteousness from the throne. And don't forget, he's wiser than Daniel. Stick with me here. Now let's go back to the book of Ezekiel. And we're going back to 28, and we're going to identify what happened to Lucifer, that man of sin. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, and there is no secret that they can hide from thee. Right? Let's go down to the 12th verse. Let's go straight to it.
Yes, sir. Verse 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God, Thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty.
Full of wisdom, wiser than Daniel, perfect in beauty. So amongst the heavenly ranks, he was the most decorated. Read.
Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God.
And this is how we know it's not talking about a king or prince during the time of Ezekiel. Because this particular principality was in the Garden of Eden. Samael, the devil, the head Satan. Well, that's what he was turned to anyway. So this proves right here in Ezekiel isn't talking about anything earthy here. He's identifying the heavenly realm. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. He was the serpent. Read.
Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created.
So when it says the tabrets in thy pipes, the pipes alone is identifying like the organs, the music, the high inclined talent of this one celestial being. See that? But then something came up in him to make him think, because of all the glory that was put in Lucifer, that he was special, that he was above the rest of the angels. He started to believe that he was better than the one who made him, Christ. Thy tabrets and thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Christ put everything in him. He didn't want to give the glory to the one who made him. He thought the whole time that him being made that way was an entitlement. That was above God. That was above Christ. He was supposed to be the best. The greatest talent in heaven. 14.
Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire.
The stones of fire is the tessellated floor you see in the Masonic halls, where they are trying to duplicate what Lucifer was amongst in heaven. There's a white part, and then there's what? A portal. There's a floor, then it's a portal. A floor and a portal, where the angels can step off of the heavenly floor into a portal, and instantly they'll be in earth. That's your tessellated or checkered floor you see in Prince Hall, Freemasonry halls and all that. It's Lucifer mimicking what he was a part of in the heavenly realm. He walked down in the midst of the stones of fire. 15.
Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee.
Until iniquity was found in that angel. Pride. Pride. He thought he was better than the angels amongst them. He was actually better than those who actually created him. 16.
By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned.
And what was the
Therefore-
sin? His sin was pride. His sin was pride in the heavens. Therefore, read.
Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire.
From the midst of the stones of fire. And think about this, folks. Till this day, Lucifer amongst the worms that bow and sacrifice to him explains this story in an entirely different narrative, as if he was a victim up there. Right? How can you forgive man? We make a mistake and we're banished forever. This is the nonsense Lucifer is telling the so-called elite, that the way he was dealt with was unfair. See? But this is why he was hurled to the earth to be made mere man. 17.
Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty.
Thine heart was lifted up because of your beauty. Right? You became vain. You began to think it was about you. Read.
Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness.
So one thing about his wisdom, that's right. That's right. It tell you that he's wiser than Daniel. But his wisdom is corrupt. That's the difference between the Holy Spirit's wisdom through the Almighty, which is life, and Satan's wisdom. His wisdom is to hurt and or to corrupt mankind. See? Are you following me here? Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. Read.
I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee.
That they may behold thee. So now we have identified that man of sin who seek to hide himself amongst the nations. So we don't identify him. We're looking for some man to pop up to claim that he's the Antichrist or God, not realizing who's the Antichrist that was identified in the New Testament. Now, Elder, let's go back to Thessalonians.
Yes, sir. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5.
2 Thessalonians 2 and 5 reads,
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And know ye not what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time?
That spirit, Lucifer, might be revealed in its time. Now, how do we know it's Lucifer? Read the 7th verse.
Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work.
The mystery of iniquity, the one everyone is in mystery about concerning Antichrist, those who are confused, Paul is saying, you're looking in the future when he was working during the time of the disciples. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Now, if we don't know it's talking about Lucifer, then Esau can come up with a doctrine to hide who? The God they serve within pagan religion. If you're looking for a future man, a future politician, a future religious person, you've missed the mark. In order to destroy the powers that are over the earth, you must crush the head of the snake. But how can one crush the head of the snake when you think it's something else other than the head of the snake? You crush the head of the snake like Christ was prophesied, and guess what? The whole body of the snake dies. Hence the reason, folks, why they'll put out a boogeyman and have the world looking for what? An Antichrist born of men. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Read.
Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
But the Most High is going to allow this spirit to operate until he take it out of the way, because there's a purpose for this spirit. Well, what is its perfect? What is its purpose? One might ask. Well, guess what? He's the God whom sinners will serve. For those who don't want to serve God, that's their option. So now you've made a choice. Life in of itself is our tree of good and evil. We choose the law or we choose the serpent. So he is useful to get rid of all those who don't want to be right and serve the Almighty. So he is useful. So he's going to work until the Most High destroy that worm and all those who operate like him. See how it works? So now, bringing it around full circle, Elder. Now we've identified the mystery or the man of sin. Now, in this, we're going to also identify his priest. But before I do that, let's play this real quick. fair use. Here's a guy from the synagogue of Satan who's about to drop something from the synagogue of Satan. For those who don't know who the synagogue of Satan is, right? Go to Revelations 2, verse 9, and Revelations 3 and 9. Real quick. For those who are fairly new and would like to understand, who does Christ identify as the synagogue of Satan? This is his words. Now, keep in mind, John already identified that there's many antichrists. Let's read Revelations 2, verse 9. Elder.
Yes, sir. Revelation 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
And Christ says he know his people who are impoverished and going through the tribulation. He know what we have suffered in captivity and all of that. He never forgot us. Hence the reason he sent servants to be utilized as a tool for this awakening. He never forgot us. I know thy works, tribulation, poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. Now, this cannot be talking about us because our people thought we were Gentiles. There's only one group of people in the earth exalting themselves with this title. He can't be talking about us right here because we thought we were Gentiles. So it says here, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are what?
And are not.
And they are not. They're Edomites. They were Edomites who converted in the 2nd century under Hyrcanus. See? Under Hyrcanus. And was placed over the Sanhedrin. And by the time Christ came on the scene, one of these synagogue of Satan's by the name of Herod the Great, who wasn't a Jew, he was a converted Jew from the time of who? Antipater. The converted Edomites who now are claiming to be Jews in Jerusalem by the time Christ was born. See how that works? And are not, but they're the what?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
Now, when everyone view this synagogue, they usually relate it to Judaism. But suppose it's greater than this. Suppose this synagogue of Satan is a whole system that have been set up since before the flood. Satan's empire model. You're going to find out tonight what that is. So when it says, those that are Jews and are not, but the synagogue of Satan, now, Elder Lawyer, let's go back to Thessalonians again. Let's go back to Thessalonians. A matter of fact, before we do that, I just wanted to go here to show who are the synagogue of Satan according to Christ's words. It's not our opinion. Christ said the synagogue of Satan are those who say they are Jews and are not. So obviously these people, according to what they've read of Christ, would have a problem with him. Okay. They would have a problem with him because the synagogue of Satan were the same operation during the disciples' time that was opposing the 7 churches that were established under Peter. See? Are y'all following me here? Now, Elder Lloyd, let's get Revelations 3, verse 9 to show you why they have a problem. The synagogue of Satan has a problem with Christ. Revelations 3, verse 9, read it.
Yes, sir. Pull it up. Revelation 3 and 9.
Yes.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
But do
Behold.
lie. It say they're lying. You cannot become a race through religion. Your religion has nothing to do with it. Like, for instance, as an example, my father and mother, your father and mother, had children. They're siblings of the same bloodline from the father and mother. Just say there were 3 sons, and one chose to be a Christian. Another chose to be a Muslim. And another chose to be a Buddhist. Now, I don't know why they would choose any of these 3, but just for argument's sake, does the religion they chose to follow change their genetic makeup that came through their father and mother, which makes out their race? The genetics. So your race cannot be dictated by what religion you follow. That's why Christ said that it's a lie. You can't join a religion and become one of the lost tribes of Israel. And this is why they hate Christ. He identifies the lie that have been covering them the whole time, that have been protecting them the whole time. Because what people outright would consciously oppose the chosen people, automatically they get what? An unspoken protection with that label. See? See how that works? So they upset with Christ because Christ have blew the lid off of the greatest lie that have ever been told in earth. Edomites posing as Israelites. Read that last piece again.
Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
And to know this is their future, according to Christ. How can they in good conscience love or believe in Christ when Christ promised that he would make them one day bow to the same people they have enslaved? All right? So that brings us to where we are today. The synagogue of Satan, one of the synagogue of Satan's children, your Yuval Harari is now bringing it all out in plain sight without hiding it, because they can't hide it anymore. Now that it's being revealed, they're telling people their true intentions from the beginning. And in order to accomplish what they tried to do since the beginning, AI is 100% necessary. Fair use for education and religious purposes only. All right? Let me put on the closed caption. Fair use.
Guru Yuval Harari's speech at the World Economic Forum, Davos, recently, on AI, was a great example of inverted spirituality.
Do you know? As far as putting words in order is concerned, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books...
You heard, Elder Lawyer? If
Yes,
laws are made of words, AI will take over the law. Now, Elder Lawyer, he will be like God, right? That's what he promised.
Right.
That man of sin must be revealed. Everything the Most High made was through what? The Word. He spoke it, and it was so. He spoke it. So now, check out AI again. I will be like God. Listen to this.
Historian and tech guru Yuval Harari's speech at the World Economic Forum, Davos, recently, on AI, was a great example of inverted spirituality.
Do you know? As far as putting words in order is concerned, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just combinations of words, then AI will take over books. If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion.
Huh? Now, is it really a takeover of religion? I notice how Esau, under the Babylonian model, can seamlessly work with those with different religious backgrounds, be it Hindus, be it Muslims, be it Christians, be it Jewish people. So what are they doing here? Is it taking over religion? Or really drawing from the original spirit that created all of these religions, with all the nations working at the very end with Satan, like they were operating with him at the Tower of Babel? It's not taking over. It's continuing the plan. Right? More.
This is particularly true of religions based on books, like Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. Judaism calls itself the religion of the book, and it grants ultimate authority not to humans, but to words in books. Humans have authority in Judaism not because of our experiences, but only because we learn words in books. Now, no human can read and remember all the words in all the Jewish books, but AI can easily do that.
Wiser than Daniel, anyone? There's more.
What happens to a religion of the book when the greatest expert on the Holy Book is an AI.
Harari argues that for religions based on books, he focuses on Judaism, AI will become the maximum authority because it can process and compare scripture better than any human. This makes a lot of sense if you understand religion as a detailed body of law that you benefit from through meticulous application in every particular. But if religion precisely confers its benefits by being internalized, learned, understood, by effecting some change in you, then deferring to an AI for rulings on this or that issue misses the point. Even in terms of the purely rules-based bits of a religion, it would be like looking up the answers to a maths exam, but never learning algebra. The mind remains undisciplined. You're not conforming your mind, your understanding, to the truth that that law is trying to communicate to you. The locus of religious experience can only be...
I'm not going to go all the way into him. But elder, the plan,
Yes, sir.
the plan is to bring all people in one mind under one religion. Now, how do we bring this full circle and identify it? Because don't forget, they rolled out the test model when they shut the whole earth down during what they call the pandemic. They test the whole model to be controlled from the outside of you through media, through your religious institutions, and all of that. It doesn't matter what religion, what background, whether you were rich, whether you were poor, all people were under one signal and had to comply according to the law that was getting passed down. Now, how do we bring this around full circle? There was a people, according to God, Elder Lawyer, who was born, that's right, born to oppose unrighteousness. And that righteousness is an actual stick in the machine that's stopping what? The machine from working flawlessly. So they have to find a way to get rid of who? The righteous. So not only were they seeking the man of sin, Lucifer, not only was he seeking to build this construct of wisdom that would lead him back to the sides of the north where the Most High was, he would have to corrupt mankind that would lead to the death of all the earth. He had to corrupt all mankind so that he'll have agents to utilize and serve him to build the evil construct, which would lead to what? The end of humanity, and in the wake of it all, kill the chosen people. So we have to identify that model, because AI at the end of it is going to be the controller of it all. No people. It will be Satan's conscience controlling everything. And the people will be connected with him like they were once connected to the Almighty. We're at the infancy of AI. But I'm going to show you its plan, what they're actually putting into AI's program, folks, is to identify and to destroy the lost sheep of Israel mainly. Now, of course, the rest of the Gentiles who's going to fall out and die from all of this will be the collateral damage. Hence the reason they had what? The Georgia Guidestones. That in order for them to have a harmonious earth, they must get the earth down to a certain manageable number that could be managed through tyranny and military. There are too many people. So they're up against time with God's awakening with his people. On top of God's awakening, folks. As a matter of fact, let me show you the model. Let me show you the model of the man of sin that they have hid for a long time that can no longer be hid. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
A matter of fact, what I'm going to do, let me send this to you first. I said, because I was thinking earlier, Elder Lawyer, I was thinking, how could I put this in a visual where if a brother or sister see this on a video, they'll be able to get the full plan of the man of sin and understand the model we were born under and understand everything. What could I create where people can see it within a couple of seconds and understand it? Well, what I did earlier, and I'm going to send it to your, real quick, Elder. I'm going to send it to your teams. It's crazy. It's been a long time since the Most High did something with me like this, where it came into my mind. Let me get it real quick. Let me see. Hey, where you at? Where you at? All right, law. Did something just get sent to your phone, Lawyer?
No, sir.
All right, let me do it this way then.
All right, I see it now.
You see it?
Yes, sir.
Lawyer, what you see on your phone, it's crazy, right? I said, how can I quantify after reading Satan's first empire under Cain? How could I quantify this? Revealing the man of sin. And I don't know if people can see this. I made a paper model of it that can explain the whole thing in a couple of minutes to understand this crazy construct we were born under. And I said, once I wrote it down, I'm like, you know what? I can't lose this. I came in here to do music earlier to finish what we got for the Passover. And Lawyer, something just came into my mind, and I made a model. And I said, AC, I need you to make this model. Okay? It's called the Canaanite model of Baal. It's based on everything I've been reading out of the Canaanite books. While the Most High said don't deal with Baal and all of this, their system going all the way back from Babylon, before that to the land of Nod, pre-flood, that led to the Most High destroying everything in the flood. And let me pull it up here. He gave it to Brother James. He gave it to Brother James. And James spit back the model God's people were born under. So we get to understand why Christ is so important. Look at the model we were born under. When you look at this model here, the man of sin, who later was called Baal. Here's the Canaanite model going from left to right. The construct that the so-called elite lives by and cannot gain any wisdom from Satan unless they participate in this model. From left to right. Why is it in Daniel? Baal, the Baphomet knowledge, the knowledge from the heavens to earth. Through that, he can convince what? The nations to become a part of his priesthood. Within his priesthood is religion and science. Religion, science with a political structure. But in order to protect the empire in the middle, you must have a military to sustain the power that's implemented from what was given the priesthood. And through the military, blood sacrifice that feeds the Baphomet. Innocent blood must come every generation. This Baphomet requires the elite to bring forth a certain number in the earth of innocent blood. Now, folks, I'm quantifying what's in the Canaanite books so y'all can understand what we're under without having to read, War and Peace to you. Through the sacrifice also is child sacrifice. The politicians and the religious leaders and the scientists who are the priesthood, in order to receive knowledge to build empire with greater ingenuity, Baal or the Baphomet requires child sacrifice built into the system. Now, through a construct like this, the people are protected and are able to prosper within the construct of empire. But in order for them to continue under the help and protection of the empire, they must be willing to give their children over to sacrifice here. He spelled Moloch wrong. It's Lomoloch. But people, it tell you right here, the people must give their children over to sacrifice. Abortion, anyone? And on top of that, not just the people, the priesthood. Now, why must they give their children over to sacrifice? Because you have two things working in the earth at one time, good and or evil. And if you're under Abraham's model, you're the moral compass of the earth from one generation to the next. And under those laws, you cannot get children who would initially join the Moloch priesthood. See? So you need a wicked system in place like the nations we're dealing with so that they can give their children over, so that if some of the priests or scientists and others die, they have children already getting mentored from an early age to take their place. Be it over military, be it over science, be it over politics, be it over governance. You have to have what? A number of children through the population to feed the Moloch machine. See that? So then they had to set a model in place in our current time that seemed less barbaric. The more people on the earth, as the earth grows and multiplies beyond number, it's hard to hide this model. See, when the earth, Elder Lawyer, wasn't as populated coming out, let's use America as an example, where it was chattel slavery. We had our place. They were segregated. The white people had their own place, and there wasn't many people. They had their side. We had our side. So we didn't see any of these strange rituals that a lot of people don't know. KKK is an iteration out of Freemasonry with rituals and sacrifices and all that. A lot of us think KKK is a hate group that was running around hanging black people. No. They were a part of the Freemason science in hoods, sacrificing people and all of that. That's right, folks. A lot of people don't know this. So back then, they could do it amongst themselves without any interference because we were segregated. We were segregated. They were doing all these weird stuff over the tracks to keep the empire. It was a necessity under the Baphomet religion. You know when they signed us up to it? After the civil rights, Woodstock. With the music and all that, they initiated us into the Baphomet Empire. Right? So let's go into what this model looks like for them to sustain. How do they keep this going over and over again? What does regular society, how must regular society look like for them to continue in this? Now, keep in mind, the more we begin to multiply and grow, it became beyond measure to where people started realizing something is wrong here. This isn't normal. Like, this is intentional. Right? We started looking at it and be like, well, hold up. And then we started realizing, well, something is wrong. See, they used to be able to use the news when we once trusted the news, Elder Lawyer, to explain it off. Like when I was a kid, I don't know who can remember this, and they was talking about a lot of black children going missing in Atlanta. Children being missing, right? People missing on the back of milk cartons. And the news were able to explain it off as a lone nut just doing something because, he was out of his mind. And what we didn't know, they used the news to cover up the child sacrifice portion that's required for the elite to get information for the next stage in empire. Whatever Satan tell them, how many innocent children they need to be sacrificed, they must bring it forth. No wonder Kamala Harris had a van to perform abortions at the last DNC convention. Right? So they've been using the news to explain it off the whole time, making us believe that Jeffrey Dahmer was a lone nut. Jack the Ripper was a lone nut. That Charles Manson was just some hippie. We were born under this satanic empire model and have been spared through Christ's grace. Because there's a moral line under God's law that if we walk, these people cannot touch us. They can only touch God's elect through permission. Right? So, Elder Lawyer, real quick, I want to show people what that model is real quick. I'm going to Antiquity of the Jews, chapter 2. So they can understand the model that must be in place for Satan to continually do what? He can continually build his empire through the nations without being seen. Okay? You have to go back to Cain. Now there's another model here. There's another model I wanted to show. And through the prosperity comes what? Through the prosperity, people have to pay in for a prosperous construct to protect them in this model. So what do they have to pay when they benefit within the construct? A tax. Well, the tax go right back in to the priesthood. And the cycle continues. They pay a tax for protection, and it goes right back to the priesthood and the military, and the cycle continues. As long as Baal or Satan receives, that's right, folks, the blood of the innocent that's required. So it doesn't matter how many people march and get upset, and they should to every degree, with what's going on in Gaza. Here's the reality of the matter. The man of sin requires it. And his priests who are over there will lose all power if they don't bring the innocent blood to him. That's the exchange for power. It's a model that goes all the way back to Cain. They have to do this. And this is why the elite are compromised. They're not compromised through blackmail. It's not about blackmail to them. This is part of their religion. If they get out of line and step over, then guess what? Then they expose it so that the moral line in the earth can judge them. That's the rules. So when people talk about Epstein and this, that, and the other and all that, hey, folks, why do you think that when they showed those Jewish foreigners in tunnels in Brooklyn, how that story was here one day and was gone, and no one hear about it right now, when it showed mattresses with blood on it and all these things? This is the model we were born under. Now, here's the issue, and this is where AI is going to come in later. When our people stop killing each other and stop aborting their children, and they're not getting the voluntary innocent blood that they would normally get under this model, that's when they're going to show their true horns. Okay? That's when they're not going to wait for blood. That's when they're going for blood, like we see in Gaza. Because it's required under their religion. Elder Lawyer, you got it for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, real quick, because we got to go in about 40 minutes. Let's go directly, it's part 2 with Cain?
Yep, book 1, chapter 2.
Oh, yeah, and let's make it clear, okay? Cain and Abel were not the only children of Adam and Eve, okay? Mm-hmm. That's another Jewish fable. Okay? That's a lie. Genesis, the 4th chapter, tells us clearly that Adam and Eve had sons and daughters. Cain married his sister Awan. There was no law of incest at this time because the command given to Adam and Eve was to be fruitful and multiply. So the children would have to multiply amongst each other until the nations would be divided in the earth. After that, then, if you deal amongst one another, it's the law of incest. Cain married his sister Awan. Okay? Let's read it. Let's show the model.
Yes, sir. Antiquities of the Jews, Book 1, Chapter 2, Paragraph 2. And when Cain had traveled over many countries, he with his wife built a city named Nod, which is a place so called, and there he settled his abode, where also he had children. However, he did not accept of his punishment in order to amendment, but to increase his wickedness. For he only aimed to procure everything that was for his own bodily pleasure, though it obliged him to be injurious to his neighbors. He augmented his household substance with much wealth by rapine and violence. He excited his acquaintance to procure pleasures and spoils by robbery, and became a great leader of men into wicked courses. He also introduced a change in that way of simplicity, wherein men lived before, and was the author of weight measures and weights.
He was the author of measures in weight. See? The barter system changed to a what? A currency system to control the population behind the walls that can set up what? A class system where the elite could now rule over common man. It started here. The man of sin's model that would be prevalent throughout all of his empires until he's judged. Read.
And whereas they lived innocently and generously, while they knew nothing of such arts, he changed the world into cunning craftiness. He first of all set boundaries about lands.
Borders.
He built the city and fortified it with walls.
Borders. Go on.
And he compelled his family to come together to it and called that city Enoch.
He called that city Enoch. This was the Babylon before Babylon, folks. This is where you can have the big parties and everybody come. It's not the boring life. Everything you want was behind these walls. Right? Read on.
And called that city Enoch after the name of his eldest son, Enoch.
Read.
Now Jared was the son of Enoch, whose name was Malaliel. That's it on that.
Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to pull out there, where it says, whose son was Melech. Go down a little further.
Yes, sir. It says, Lamech was also the father of a daughter whose name was Naamah. And because he was so skillful in matters of divine revelation, that he knew that he was to be punished for Cain's murder of his brother.
No, where you at? Are you eldest?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah,
yep.
let's go down to, of these children of Adah, one was Jabal.
Yes, sir. Of these children was Adah, one was Jabal. He erected tents and loved the life of a shepherd. But Jubal, who was born of the same mother with him, exercised himself in music, and invented the psaltery and the harp. But Tubal, one of his children by the other wife, exceeded all men in strength, and was very expert in the famous in martial performances. He procured what tended to be to the pleasures of the body by that method, and first of all invented the art of making brass.
The art of making brass. What we're showing you here all the way through, all of this knowledge since the beginning of control, going back to Cain. Cain was the one who set up what? A chaotic city as a form of control. Murder, killing, all of these things were baked in the society. See that? And by doing so, the Baphomet could do what? It can get its innocent blood as a requirement under the empire. So where does AI comes in at? Well, once everything, according to the synagogue of Satan, is placed into AI, there'll no longer be a need for the people under that original model. And folks, the construct will not be able to hold the number of people under the new model, which will force what? The people to turn on one another everywhere. And that's when the so-called elites are going to sit back and allow people to just pillage and kill one another until they get that number down to a manageable population, and that's when they're seeking to engage. This is why AI is over everything, so that they can take all these jobs and everything slowly out of the way and make it where we're in a society that none of us have adjusted ourselves to live under. And then there's also models that comes with the spirit of AI that will be operating with the robots, who now without conscience are going to be used as the military, as the police to get rid of people. AI going to be programmed, and who do you think they're going to program AI to come after? The righteous. Okay? So the police are saying, well, hold up. We're going to be fine. You think so? The police are going to be the robots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's where we're going. Because what? The blood sacrifice in that model is what? Required. It's too many people. We've figured out and identified the man of sin. He can no longer hide under being the chosen people anymore. So now they're going over to the robots and AI, snatching that whole empire model away, so that now the people will have no choice but to come against one another for the sake of survival. Okay? But blessed are your eyes that you see, and your ears that you hear. How did it go back to Purim? How did it go back to Haman the Agagite, who conspired and planned all these things against us? Think about it. They took a census, got all the numbers of the people they were looking to destroy, paid all the mercenaries, and the Most High intervened. Same model they did during the pandemic. 2015, 2016, Barack Obama signs what you would call a benefit in the United States called Obamacare that we thought was health care for everyone. You see the premiums on health care right now? They made everybody think that it was about saving money and to compete with other countries that have universal health care. About time, we thought. No. It took away patient doctors' privilege and put all people's medical in a database. So now all of your genetics, all of our genetics is in one database. And through that blood they're taking, you think they don't know who the lost tribes of Israel are? And now that they were under the database, that was no different than Haman sending out a census to number how many people he had to destroy. Only for later to come with some stuff after everything shut down that started attacking specific genetics. See how that works? Paying the mercenaries like they would do who? Like they would do the so-called migrants. They're not migrants at all. They're the foreign army who's coming in to execute the soft kill. Same plan. Same plan as Haman the Agagite, to why Sister Esther had to get in front of this and get rid of that man of sin. But it doesn't stop there. Now that everyone is in a database, and when AI takes control, guess what genetics will be the threat that AI must exterminate first? It's going to be the same people who they said should get the stuff first. But the Most High has a hedge over those who follow his law, who are in Christ, and who are preparing for that moment. And I'm going to tell you this. Without us even trying, by doing the work of the Almighty, he done placed things in place to begin to prepare for that moment. But it's not just going to take something tangible at the end of it. It's going to take the Spirit of the Almighty to hedge us and direct us through it.
That's right.
Which I have every confidence he's going to do so. When they turn this thing over to the machines, because now the synagogue of Satan is being revealed now, and no one trusts them. That's why they brought other people over, black and brown people, for the soft kill. And now we recognize them and pushing back on them. And now they're dealing with the machines and can put all the data of the genetics in the machines and say, okay, it's time to cut the machines loose on them. But that's going to be down the line. We got a few years for that. They're still waiting for God's people who don't understand what's going on to attack and to destroy each other first. Because a lot of people have the stuff in them. A lot of people are on drugs. A lot of people are being controlled by the Antichrist in their minds. And through that, triggered to go against their own. Let me read it real quick. Elder Lawyer, real quick. I only got about 15 more minutes. I got about 30 more minutes, actually. I'll do 15 minutes, then open it up. We're going to the parts. In 12 parts is that tribulation divided. Folks, what am I telling you? The mind of the Baphomet that makes empire is being turned over to Satan himself, the principalities and powers of the air. We recognize their priesthood now. They can no longer trick us through their military, their science, or their schooling. They can't trick us anymore. Their priesthood has now become obsolete. So Satan himself must connect to the people. That's why they dealt with all those injections and all that's prophesied from Revelation, the 9th chapter. That prick of the scorpion. So that he can sit in the minds of the people and deal directly with them, because we're no longer following the priesthood. And the priesthood is getting shaky because the people in the earth outpopulate them. and now do not trust them. So Baal must connect directly with the people and it must go into your bloodstream that connects you directly to him. So now through that, he can now, through the people, make his own priesthood, make his own military, make his own child sacrifices. But he don't even need the priesthood. He can go directly through the people, sitting in the minds of the people as their new God. That's the plan. That's the model that came to me, and I drew it on a piece of paper earlier out of nowhere, and immediately I shot it to AC. And thank you, Brother James. You did a great job in bringing to life the vicious cycle we were born under, that we've been ignorant to. And there's only one way out of this. That's Christ. Let's read the parts real quick, Elder, because we have a meeting to attend. All right.
Yes, sir.
We're in. So based on this, the prophet seen the end. The prophet seen the end and what it would entail. So now we understand the model in place. Let's now show that the prophet seen the last prophecies before Christ would need to return to save us out of this. Let's read 27:1. Read that.
Yes, sir. 2 Baruch 27:1. And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided, and each of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions.
The beginning of commotions. So now that we're coming to the end where the man of sin can no longer hide himself, now they've created what? Commotions like riots and all of this all over the earth. Commotions, unrest. The second part.
And in the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones.
There shall be slaying of the great ones. Like I'm hearing after those who listen to what the talking satanic heads told them, I see many people just dropping dead. It's slaying of our people. Read.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. Died suddenly. People, young people, just dropping dead for nothing at all. But those who are under Christ's hedge, who listen to Christ, opposed and know what the mission is against us, opposed to the people who had ignorantly followed the Baal empire, have become the sacrifice that was required. Without them doing that sacrifice, when they shut everything down, folks, they would not have been given the power to do what we're seeing now with AI. They got enough deaths so that now Satan gave them more wisdom to gain power over the earth as priest. They cannot have the next level of ingenuity without a certain number of people dying. That's the model. Read all the Canaanite records. Satan would say, well, listen, I'm not going to give you no information on how to protect yourself from all those people. All right. And we can stand still and the people will get restless and kill you off. Or you can give us some sacrifices and I'll give you more information that will preserve your stinking life alive. That's the plan. That's their model. That's what it means to sell your soul. And in the fourth part, what?
And the fourth part, the sending of the sword.
The sending of the sword. Sending people off to war with these bogus excuses. Weapons of mass destruction. Iran is enriching uranium. Not telling people what the real narrative is under their religion. More blood is required. And in the fifth what?
And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain.
Famine and the withholding of rain. Folks, that also comes into what? That comes into austerity. Farmers depended on rain for their crops so that what? So that they can sustain their families through the tough seasons. That's austerity. Where you're not going to be able to make enough to feed yourselves. And the sixth part.
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors.
Earthquakes and terrors. In the book of Revelation, it talks about a great earthquake, and out of it came those spirits. And through those spirits, they would give the scientists knowledge to kill the majority of the earth, like we seen when things shut down. And folks, that was just the beta test. Before the real thing is rolled out under the mark of the beast. Read in the eighth part.
And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and the attacks of the Shadim.
We're going to witness more what they call mental health issues. People walking around possessed by demons. And the 11th.
And in the 10th part, much rapine and much oppression.
And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. Just out of nowhere, let's just lay off 500,000 people. With no end in sight concerning a job that would ever pay the salaries our people have come accustomed to having. Forget about those high earning jobs. It's over. It's over. Much rapine and much oppression. Life is going to create greater pressures that we cannot afford. And in the 11th part.
And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
And in the 11th part, straight wickedness, unexplained wickedness and unchastity, where there's no more honor and love over our temples. To be given callously without care. Now, of course, Satan would create an environment like this, because if you have wickedness and unchastity, you'll have more people pregnant who would desire to get rid of their baby. If the baby wasn't made out of love, how can you love it? Now, under the model, they can get more what? Blood sacrifice through abortion. It's required under their system. They just made it. They was able to clean it up so that we didn't realize we're all living in one big satanic ritual of an empire Christ has saved us out of. And I think the Most High to be able to see this, the truth, to be able to see the word and understand the difference between God's world and Satan's empire. In the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. And in the 12th part, what?
Confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid.
And in the 12th part, confusion of all these 12 things mingled together. Now imagine being a person who's living in this world without understanding the world we and our children were born in. Who would want to walk through this earth asleep? So one of the greatest curses out of all the signs that were given through Baruch is the fact that the people would be confused. They would be confused. because all of these things will be operating and they have no idea why and what to do in the midst of it. Read.
For these parts of that time are reserved, and shall be mingled one with another, and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own, and receive in its stead from others. And some complete their own, and that of others, so that they may not understand, those may not understand who are upon earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times.
So because things are not fluid where it stays one way, it'll be an earthquake one day, a fire another day, it'll be unchastity another day, riots another day, a war the next day, earthquakes again. And it says here that people may not understand on the earth in those days that this is the consummation of times, which means this particular empire is untenable and cannot go on under this model. It have met the height of its wickedness and must get judged. The evil outweighs the good. We're living in the same times that led to the Most High destroying the earth, where now the empire is no longer sustainable. At one point, the sacrifice model was only amongst the elite and those who chose to follow the religion. Ever so often, the innocent, righteous people would get caught up going over the tracks. But once the whole world had been initiated into it, where there's no righteousness to counterbalance the evil, the Most High puts a clock on it. What is this world for if there's no righteousness? What is the goal here? If it continue, there'll be none of my people left anyway. And this is where the celestial God from heaven intervene and say, okay, it's time to wake up the people, and it's time we need to put a clock on this empire. My people are getting caught up to a degree where if I don't come back, if I don't save them out of this, none of them will be saved. It's too much for them. These are the conversations amongst the celestials, amongst the Most High's throne. Finishing up, this is the consummation of times. Nevertheless,
whosoever understandeth shall then be wise. For the measure and reckoning of those times, or of that time, are 2 parts a week of 7 weeks. And I answered and said, is it good for a man to come and behold? But it is better that he should not come, lest he fall.
So Baruch asked, is it better that we were even born? Is it better that he should not come? It's better that you don't send people into this, because how are they going to be able to see through all this madness? That's what Baruch have resolved in his mind, and I can understand so. Well, Lord, you're going to send people into this? He's like, yeah. Because there are going to be some people worthy to fight from the inside to save my people. That's where servants come in at. Those who pick up the plow and never put it down for the sake and love of their people. It is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall. But I will say this also, read.
Will he who is incorruptible, despise those things which are corruptible,
Come on.
and whatever befalls in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible.
Come on.
But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which thou hast foretold to me, so do thou show this also unto me, if indeed I have found grace in thy sight.
How can your people come into the earth and not be corrupt? Show me, Lord, since I've found grace in thy sight. And don't forget, folks, Baruch was tired of this in those times.
Mm-hmm.
And the wickedness that he's seen in the future, I'm going to tell you, he was like, man, how are people going to make it through that? Then he says, what? Is it in one?
Is it in one place or in one of the parts of the earth that those things are come to pass? Or will the whole earth experience them?
Will the whole earth experience them? That's why Satan set up this model all over the earth. The Vatican, Satan's seat, controls the whole world, including America. The whole earth is under this. They have sent out what? Doctors and clinics and all of that, who you thought was philanthropers, to go inside these remote areas to set up clinics so that they can do what? Administer their stuff and take the blood of the people throughout the earth to identify the only threat who can stop this. And it's the lost tribes of Israel. We're the only threat because the Bible tells you, they know that the Most High is saying, even from the heavens, you worm, Lucifer, touch not my anointed. If those who want to subject themselves to sin, if they want to turn to you, you can have them. But these are the people you don't touch. My shining lights in the earth. So through all this wickedness, there's certain people, even if they want to, cannot be touched by them. Is it in one place or in one parts of the earth that those things come to pass, or will the whole earth experience them? Let's read it. And he answered.
And he answered unto me and said, whatsoever then will befall the whole earth. Therefore all who live will experience them. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land.
And when it says in this land, folks, Christ had a mystery. I'm going to talk about it this coming Sabbath. Then when it all go down, we must be standing in the holy place. He that have an ear, let him hear. There will be protection, but it's not going into one area and think you're going to be protected. That holy place is being covered through Christ's baptism. And when the time comes to be moved outside of the carnage, where they're not even going to be able to affect those who are under Christ's protection. I'm going to go over that this Saturday. The whole earth is going to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no geography you can run to or go to and think that because I'm standing here, I'm going to be all right. Because that holy place was shown. Okay. But guess what, folks? It's not what people think. It's not you standing on somewhere in Jerusalem or standing somewhere in Jordan. Nah. There's places within those regions that angels have cloaked from the world. Huh? You just can't run into it unless you gain entry. He that standeth in the holy place, he that have an ear, let him hear. And it shall come to pass.
And it shall come to pass when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed.
That's when it's going to be time for Christ to come back, where he must cut their time short. Matthew 24 and 22.
St. Matthew 24, verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved.
And except those days be shortened. The time he gave that Satan, the man of sin, that's getting revealed tonight. Unless he cut that time short for that spirit, none of us would be left. Not one. That's right. He's wiser than Daniel. He done set out and wrote out a plan amongst the elite that if he executed in the time God gave him, no humans would be left on earth. Not any that belong to God anyway. Read.
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And brothers and sisters, make no bones about it. We are the elect. Now, for time's sake, we have to go because we're going into a meeting. Let me tell y'all, folks, this is going to be an eye-opening, high-level prophetic year. Big time. And I've been telling people all over the earth, especially within the church, hold on. This is Christ's church. Hold on. Appreciate what the Most High have done in this earth. And when I seen those children yesterday, I'm like, well, okay. Not Christmas Purim. The Most High has done and will continue to do a great work in this earth through this church until it's time to go. But until then, keep your eyes peeled right here. I wanted to put out one scripture for the people and ask Elder Lawyer before I go into this meeting. When is it okay not to follow this scripture? Elder Lawyer, I'm going to leave it here. And this is just some food for thought. And this is for the saints out there, predominantly saints who have followed, listened to the word of God here, who have chosen to be baptized, and who have been guided through serious life or death situations with us at the helm as elders. I'm going to ask real quick for those that are out there, when is it okay not to follow this scripture? Read 1 Timothy, Elder Lawyer, 5, verse 19.
1 Timothy 5:19. Against an elder, receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses.
Now, this is the Bible. When is it okay not to follow this scripture? How do you know when the devil has entered your mind to poison you against some of the only people on earth who's willing to stand for you and help your family through this? You know you're poisoned when you can receive an accusation against an elder without 2 or 3 witnesses to confirm whether or not that person is a liar. And when you can take a person who ain't going to follow Christ without witnesses, their word over those who have sacrificed for your life, those are the people you deserve to be amongst. Okay? We do too much work and have sacrificed much, more than you know, than to have people we have sown into to take sides against those that would help you. If somebody's coming online and they're spouting out some madness without witnesses, they're doing it to see the devil in you. You don't have a problem with us. They're trying to seed you into becoming the devil they've become because Satan have taken them. They are not victims. No one have done anything to those people. The devil is in them. And I'm going to say this. Everybody who try to come out and make a claim against this church or myself, I've gone to them. They have never come to me, not once, about any of that one-on-one. Ever. Because they know it's a bunch of lies and crap. Not once. So again, I'm going to say this before I go into that meeting. When it's okay to receive an accusation against an elder without 2 or 3 witnesses? See, I'm bold in teaching the word of the Almighty, and I don't have to hide from people. So when people try to say something about me, I reach out to them. They run. That's the difference. It takes a coward to get on a video and to seed doubt in the people, to have them turn away from the only people who can help them, knowing they didn't take any of Christ's steps. And you know why I feel a certain type of way? Because they know they're only trying to harm the people. They could care less about you. So if you're taken and think something different of us because of an evil, deceitful, wicked person that don't even care enough about you to not throw a stumbling block in front of you, then hey, what can I say? If you want to believe we are what some of these people say or one of these individuals saying, then hey, we're not qualified for you to learn from us anyway. We wish you Godspeed. And we pray that you'll have someone to guide you through this. We don't have to stand up and answer to every lie that's out there. Our work show forth who we are and what we do. Okay? That's it. If you receive an accusation against us and there's no witnesses and believe that, that's on you. Hopefully those people, and another thing, they're not going to be there to guide you through anything. They just want to have you on the outside without any protection or guidance going forward, like what's going on with them, who has no spirit. I don't have to answer to any liar out there that's not bold enough to come and bring an art, because there is no art. There is no art. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to ask y'all again. When is it okay to receive an accusation against an elder without witnesses? And if somebody put out something without witnesses, is that Christ or is that the devil? And again, if somebody put out something about me and y'all know them, you get them together and say, well, let's talk to Elder Ricard Shiar and Elder Lawyer. Don't talk to me through a post or through Instagram or through Facebook. That's coward. If what you're saying is true about Elder Ricard Shiar, he just put out an open invitation for me to invite you into a Zoom to tell Elder Ricard Shiar what you're telling me. And what I'll do if they come, I'll bring the witnesses. How about that? Shalom. Happy Purim.
Shalom.
I'm going to ask you, Elder Lawyer, before we go. When is it okay to receive an accusation against an elder without witnesses? When is that okay?
It's not okay. The same Bible says eating pork is not okay. Alternative lifestyles are not okay. Just as much as those things are not okay, bringing an accusation against an elder without witnesses is not okay.
There you go. And notice what happened to the people that always bring the accusations. They go to nothing. And Christ's church continues. All right. You know who we are. We are the children of Israel. And yes, we are back. Happy Purim. When the naysayers are gone, if it be the will of the Most High, we'll be bringing the unadulterated truth all the way until Christ's kingdom. We are the children of Israel, and yes, we are back. Shalom.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went.
Come on.
The 12 tribes of Israel.
That's who we be,
Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim, from Puerto Rico, and Valley.
All right, Elder Lawyer, I'll see you there.
The Lord is calling back Israel.
Yes, sir.
From Panama, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us,
That good point.
together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon, we found our brothers here.
A higher gather us. Whoa.
From Australia, the Mexican,
Happy Purim, brothers and sisters. On high. Come on. A highest gathering Israel. Oh.